Zach, we've talked to you in Southern California, we've talked to you in Utah, and now we're somewhere else. Where are you today?
Yeah, hanging out in Idaho. A lot of moving around. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Idaho. We're like in Ashton, Idaho, staying at a cabin and with some of the other BYU guys that are kind of going through this pre-draft process while just trying to take a little bit of a break and hang out.
That's awesome. Who's with you?
I'm with Matt Bushman and his wife, Isaiah Kafusi. His wife is here, and then Troy Warner is also here, and his wife. So we got a good little group of guys all hanging out.
That's awesome, man. How important is this time for you? Because obviously, once you are drafted, it's all in, right? The mental break of that.
Yeah, I mean, this time is huge. Like, I got to make sure, I'm still, going over, installs and stuff like that. So kind of what I'm doing is going through film. I'm just making sure, like, I'm watching every team this past year, kind of like I did with BYU, just making sure I'm getting used to defenses and defensive IDs and all that kind of stuff before the draft comes. Because once it comes, I'm going to have to pick up whatever offense they hand me right after the draft, and I'm going to have to try and learn it as fast as I can. So any advantage I can get right now, just getting used to watching NFL film is going to be an advantage for me. I'm still doing coaches meetings with a bunch of different teams, and trying to figure out that whole thing, and then physically I got to stay up with lifting and running and all that kind of thing.
So no break then.
Yeah, no break. But out here, at least it's peaceful.
Yeah, different location. Yeah, that helps, absolutely.
Yeah.
Talking with Zach Wilson on BYU Sports Nation. Let's get to a couple of comments people have made. I want to get your reaction to different stuff. So Colin Cowherd said he doesn't want you to be good in chaos. Because he feels like the Jets are already chaotic. He wants you to be in lockstep with the system and the head coach. So what you've evolved in this way, and you've talked about a couple years ago in certain situations, maybe held onto the ball too long or whatever. How do you feel like you've grown and how you've performed in chaotic situations, whether it be in the pocket or the game itself?
Yeah, well, I just feel like I can use it when I need to. I mean, my first choice is obviously be able to work in the pocket, be able to just, small movements, slide, go through my progressions like I'm supposed to, make the decisions I'm supposed to. But when things do break down and when things are chaotic, I'm able to still function within the offense and still make plays within the offense. So, that's something I'm always working on and trying to keep improving on. So no matter what offense you're in, that's valuable to have.
How did you progress as a quarterback in terms of, and you've talked about this a lot with us here, is pre-snap, right? You're evaluating what's going on, but then things change once the ball is snapped sometimes, right? How did you evolve as a quarterback in terms of trying to limit the chaos as much as possible, and then when it gets chaotic, making the right read?
Yeah, just understanding sometimes in like tough situations when, this isn't a time to put your team behind. This isn't a time to, do something that could hurt your team, understanding when to take risk and when not to take risk. Understanding the situations definitely helped me more. There was times it was, third and extra long, and, freshman or sophomore Zach would have probably, tried to throw the ball 30 yards down the field to try and force it into a tight window to try and get that first down. But sometimes it's okay just to throw a check down and just live to play the next down. Maybe give your defense the benefit of, us getting 15 of those yards by throwing a check down, and now we're punting on the plus side because now the field position is in our favor. Little things like that kind of just go all the way back to the situations of the game and, just living to play the next down.
You only had 3 picks last year. Do you remember each one of them, or is that something you put out of your mind?
Yeah, I do. And that's just because, obviously you're going to remember all the bad plays and you're going to try and, keep improving and getting better on those. So it's definitely what things I wish I didn't have, but I know it's part of the game and I just got to, find out what I could have done better.
Hey, only 3 though, man. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, not too bad.
Okay. Mark Sanchez, former Jets quarterback. Hey, compared you to Brett Farve. We'd had a lot of kind of current guy comparisons, right? Some people say you're a little Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. But Brett Farve was an interesting one. What did you think of that?
Well, I think, Brett Farve is just one of those guys that extends plays outside the pocket. So I think that's kind of where he's probably coming from. And, that's awesome to be compared to Brett Farve, one of the best around. All of those guys are the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So it's awesome. I think you could probably pick a part of any quarterback game that you could see a little bit of anybody in. You could talk about, parts with, Tom Brady or, parts with Drew Brees. I mean, there's so many comparisons you can make to anything. I mean, quarterbacks are so similar, and things that they do. So, everyone's always trying to have their comparisons of the ways guys play the game. And, it's very generous, but, everyone's a little bit different in their own way.
Stephen A. Smith on First Take talked about you as well, but he called you Luke Wilson. That's happened with Colin Cowherd too. How often does that happen where someone, misplaces your first name like that?
I don't know. I guess every once in a while. I don't keep up with them enough. So,
are you the third Wilson brother?
Hopefully, they'll learn my name one day.
Yeah, that's the hope, right? Luke, Owen, and Zach Wilson, the trio of brothers, I guess.
Yep. Exactly.
Have you finalized where you will be on draft day?
Not decided yet. I'm still going over with my family. I'm sure there'll be some media out there once I decide if I'm going or not. We're still just kind of thinking through the pros and cons, if I should go, if I should stay, what the benefits of both are.
Is the league hoping you'll be there in person if you want?
Yeah, for sure. I think the NFL would like us there. It's a special night. I know they take pride in having people there and experiencing the whole thing. And, normal years, that's a dream come true to be there. But, COVID situation and everything going on, that's the only reason I'm hesitant to figure out what to do.
Are you expecting to be drafted by the New York Jets at this point, given the Sam Darnold trade and given the rhetoric publicly?
Well, I don't know. That's what the media says, right? And that's what you hear around you. But in my own, personal experience of just understanding, the small circle I'm around, talking to my agent, talking to guys around me, you never know what can happen. That's not the impressions that I get from them. I'm still talking to every team the same. I haven't talked to them more than anybody else. So it's not that, it's kind of seeming favored in their side. It's almost, anything could happen. You could all of a sudden see a trade, the day before, maybe I could go there, or maybe somebody else moves up. You have no idea, what could happen. So really, I'm not trying to set my mind on anything until that day comes and we actually figure out what's going to happen.
Jets at 2, Niners at 3, Falcons at 4. Those seem like teams that are all going to draft quarterbacks. So do you feel like the likelihood is that you're going to go to, if it's not the Jets, one of those other two teams potentially?
Yeah, it seems like it. I think nowadays with the value of being able to get a quarterback this cheap and having like the slotted draft money up early in the draft, people are willing to trade up that high to get these quarterbacks now. Back in the day when you had to pay so much. I think Sam Bradford was about $60 million to get a quarterback, early in the first round. Guys weren't drafting quarterbacks this early unless they knew that they were starters. There wasn't that development time coming. But nowadays, when you can get them for half the price, guys are willing to trade up and try and get their future quarterbacks. So, it kind of seems like this could be a first year that it could go, 3-4 quarterbacks in a row. So it could be crazy to see how it unravels, but I'm excited to see, where everyone lands.
If you go to Cleveland, are you going to have to think hard about like what suit you're wearing? Because if you're at home, you can be chilling, right?
Yeah, for sure. If I'm at home, I'll be chilling in some clothes. And if I go, I'm already figuring out suit options and stuff just in case, because I need a suit anyways. So I'll get a suit, no matter what. And if it's for the draft or not, I'll make sure I get one. Like
a custom one with something on the inside and you messaging or whatever?
Yeah, we'll get a nice, I think it's like a Hugo Boss suit, custom suit that we'll get, make sure we're all styled up.
What are the chances you wear the bandana to the draft?
Yeah, that's low chances. Low chance.
That's what I thought, but yeah, all good. BYU TV Sports, we've been putting out highlights of you on Thursdays as we get ready for the draft. And one of them we put out was some of your long runs. That's not something a lot of people are talking about, but do you feel like that's an asset that you will be able to use in the NFL? Because I felt like that was an underrated part of your game that people don't talk about a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. I feel like the ability to run for a quarterback nowadays is so valuable. I think the ability to escape, the defense is all dropping, they're turning their heads, running with the receivers down the field. Those backers are, and you got to make some guys pay. You got to be able to break the line of scrimmage and go pick up 10 to 15 a pop. And then all of a sudden, a defense has to respect that. You don't have to be the best runner in the world, but you have to have, some athleticism just to be able to get out of the pocket. So I think it's very needed. I didn't care how many rushing yards I had a game, but if I had, a couple sacks, that took away some of those rushing yards, but I was able to steal a couple, 10 to 15 yard runs, then I think that's very valuable for a team.
We're about 2 weeks out, man. You've waited your whole life for an opportunity like this, and this is one of the biggest days of your life coming up, if not the biggest up to this point. What's it like right now? We're 2 weeks away, man. It's almost here.
Real. I keep thinking back to, just this April of after Pro Day, just kind of trying to take a break and just, understanding how long this season's going to be. And then a part of me is like, geez, like May 7th is probably going to be OTAs and rookie mini camps and all that kind of thing. And I bet they, do that. It's not official, but I need to be ready for that if they do. So it's crazy because, I need to make sure I'm training hard and getting ready for, practice and having to play this next year. Because right now it kind of seems like, oh, everything's just kind of hanging out and we're just chilling at home waiting to see what's going to happen. But the second the draft is over, we're going to be out with our teams and probably just trying to get learning the offense and getting used to the players and the locker room and everybody else and the coaches. So it's going to be exciting how quick this is all going to happen. But, I've waited for this my whole life. So it's going to be a dream come true on the 29th. I'm excited for it.
How old were you when you realized that maybe the NFL would be an option for you?
Yeah, I've always had a dream of that, of course. When I first realized it was probably an option, was my freshman year, just getting playing time and understanding the abilities I had. I was a very confident kid. I understand, the things I could and couldn't do. I knew there was a development process. I knew I'd have to keep getting better over the years. I knew there was things just with time and playing time that I'd keep improving on, kind of like I showed this past year for my sophomore year is there's a development stage. People are just going to keep getting better. But I always kind of knew in the back of my head, even through all the ups and downs that my freshman year, kind of just showed promise of being able to play. I didn't know if it was going to be a top 5 pick or I didn't know if it was going to be undrafted free agent, but I always thought I was going to get a chance.
Well, that chance is coming up in about 2 weeks. Zach, we're very excited for you, and we have had fun talking to you throughout this process and will over the next couple of weeks. So enjoy your time in Nowhere, Idaho, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. It was exciting. Thank you.